Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that I see from time to time, and it actually concerns me a lot, and that's when physically active men start doing diets under 2,000 calories and physically active women doing diets under about 1,500 calories. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skill at my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this, because what people need to understand is that usually with fitness and everything else, most of what we do is healthy. The majority of people, sometimes people will do extreme things that in and of itself might not be ideal sometimes. But the general idea is that most of us care about our health and fitness to some extent. But when you start intentionally engaging in self-destructive behavior, it's no longer healthy, it's no longer fit, and it might be time to reassess your mental state. So why did I give those numbers? Well, simply put, there is absolutely no reason for physically active individuals to ever need to drop below those calories in order to lose body fat. And that's rather the point. People say, well, I want to lose body fat really, really quickly. I want everything now. But the problem with that sort of mentality is that sort of thing comes at a price. That comes at a price. I mean, if people say, well, I want everything now and I don't care about the consequences, well, that's why a lot of people mega-dose drugs. Because more is better, and if they use a lot more drugs, they'll get to their goals faster. In fact, tons of people use relatively heavy doses of drugs, oftentimes in the fitness world, to achieve goals that they actually could have achieved completely clean had they just been more patient, had they been willing to put 3, 4, 5 times as much time in. Oftentimes people reach for goals that are drug-free obtainable. And I understand certain people have extreme goals. I mean, I've done competitive, untested powerlifting. I get it, I understand. But at a certain point, we all have to step back and assess, is my goal physically and mentally healthy? Because at a certain point, when you have a goal that is not going to necessarily help your career in any way, and it's physically harmful, that in and of itself is a sign of an actual mental issue. And in the case of diets that low, that is how you develop eating disorders. You're on your way towards an eating disorder if you're willing to do starvation calories that might put you on a diet that it's impossible to be balanced and healthy. In other words, those sort of caloric limits, usually for men, if you were to eat all whole foods, all right, no refined food so that you get lots of nutrient-dense stuff, you probably need about 2,000 calories for men and 1,500 calories for women is your bare minimum to get all of your nutritional needs met, meaning all of your fiber, all your phytonutrients, your vitamins, your minerals, everything that you really need in your diet for overall health is going to require you to consume about that many calories, and that's just your whole food. So I would say for most people who even want to do flexible dieting, if your whole foods, the whole unrefined or minimally processed foods you're eating aren't hitting at least those numbers every day, the odds are you're probably going to be deficient in something. All right, you're going to have a high chance of being deficient in something that you need for ideal health. And your health isn't just physical. Dietary deficiencies can affect mental health. They can affect your mind. They can affect your brain. They can aggravate things like depression, anxiety, everything else. Having nutrient deficiencies has actually been noted to exacerbate various mental health problems. And that's something we need to be increasingly aware of here in the fitness world. Mental health awareness. Taking care of our bodies and our minds. And I'm someone who myself has struggled with depression in the past. I've struggled with my own stuff, PTSD, depression, all of that. These are things I've personally struggled with, and it's something that I'm very aware of in myself, and I'm very aware of different things that I do that can trigger these problems. Trying to keep a healthy grasp on those things. And I think it's important for all of us to be that way because something like 30% of the population has some form of mental health problem. And, that number seems to be higher than that within the fitness community because a lot of people turn to fitness because of things like depression, because of various things. Like a lot of people who have gone through traumatic experiences that have PTSD or who are prone to anxiety or depression or everything else, tons of those people end up going to training. I would say almost half of people I know who train seriously have actually done so as a way to overcome either a low self-esteem or some sort of trauma in their past to give them a sense of control or to give them a therapeutic outlet. And people need to be aware that overall the fitness world also draws in a lot of people who are very prone to eating disorders, very prone to body image disorders. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if you're willing to put yourself into a caloric intake that is so low that you are at risk of nutrient deficiencies, right? Therefore, you're going to harm your health. It's harming your health in some way. You're intentionally eating a deficient diet in the pursuit of some sort of body weight or ideal body type goal, some body composition goal. You're kind of on your way towards an eating disorder at that point. And that's something that we all need to think about, something we need to weigh out. And I'm not saying people shouldn't lose body fat. You know what? There are plenty of times to where it's good for your physical health and your self-esteem to lose body fat from a certain point. Even people who are at healthy body fats, there's certainly good reasons why oftentimes people say, you know what, I want to get a little bit leaner. I want to lose another 5 or 10 pounds of fat. I want better abs. I want to make a better weight class and something I compete in. You know what? If those are things that are going to be more fulfilling for you in your life, there's nothing wrong with setting that goal. If you know that it's going to enhance some aspect of your self-esteem or your joy, there's nothing wrong with setting a goal like that. But you've got to step back and go, am I willing to harm my health to do so? And here's the thing that's simple. You know what? If you want to lose body fat faster, if you're wanting to avoid things like nutrient deficiencies and having an unbalanced diet, sometimes it's easier just to do a little more physical activity so that you don't have to drop the calories below that. And that's the point to where you're getting dangerously low. You're getting to the point to where you might start having a deficient diet. If you drop below that, you're going to have to be very, very careful. And so generally it's better to do that extra 400 or 500 calories of physical activity a day so that you can get better nutrition overall. You're actually going to be better off for it. You're going to end up with better overall metabolism, muscle retention, better overall health for it. And that's what I kind of present when I talk about people doing more cardio to lose body fat a little faster, to lose a little bit of body fat if they're stuck, rather than dropping calories further if you're at a healthy caloric intake. Meaning, I understand your bulking calories. Most of us aren't going to be able to do enough cardio realistically to cut on our bulking calories. But if you're at your normal maintenance calories, if your maintenance calories are 3,000 when you're doing almost no cardio or almost no non-weightlifting activity, there's no reason you can't just bump that activity up and cut on that. All right, you can burn an extra 300-400 calories a day, 500 calories a day, and lose half a pound to a pound a week while on your old maintenance calories. That's not really that difficult. And you know what? You're going to end up being less deprived. You're going to end up binging less. You're going to get more vitamins and minerals and have a more balanced diet if you take that approach. Because generally speaking, being able to get more nutrition in and being more physically active is going to be better for you physically. And how about emotionally? Doesn't cardio and just being active, even if it doesn't have to be what people are thinking of as intense cardio, just going for an extra walk out in the sunshine, walking your dog, taking your kids out for a walk, an extra one every day, that improves your mental health. It improves your physical health also. I mean, it'll improve your blood work, but that also improves your mental health. That improves your well-being. So the reality is most people, rather than dropping to drastically low calories, they can go ahead and lose a little bit of body fat if that's their goal, or a little bit of body weight, by engaging in meaningful activities that are going to bring more joy to their life without having to deprive themselves of food. So rather than say, oh, I'm just going to deprive myself and potentially create a deficient diet that's bad for my health, at least in the short term, why don't I just add something to my life, such as some form of extra physical activity to burn through more calories? It's going to help me on multiple levels. It's going to help me lose the extra body fat or weight I want to lose, in addition to bringing some additional quality of life. Rather than taking something away, I'm just going to eat a lot less. Why not add something of value to your life, that extra walk every day? Whether it's, listening to an audiobook or some music, walking your dog, walking your kids. Or, there you go, perfect example. People say, oh, I need to do extra activity. Well, get a pet. Get a dog. You know what? There's dogs sitting in shelters that are going to be killed next week if they don't go get adopted. Go adopt a dog and start walking him every day. Once you do that, that might bring some value and meaning to your life. Might make you feel better. You know what? You could do two good things at once. You could go adopt a dog right now who's going to be killed. Get yourself a good buddy, a new member of the family. Go walk them every day and get yourself some physical activity that's going to make you feel better because you're going to do something good. You're going to create a nice bond with your pet dog. You're going to get some extra sunshine, some extra fresh air, some extra low intensity cardio in every day. And that'll help you lose the body fat you want to lose. Why can't people do stuff like that? Do that. Instead of this, I'm just going to cut to drastically low calories. Because you know what? Anytime you do something to cut body fat quickly, it always comes at a price. And that price is usually a combination of both physical and emotional. Nutrient deficiencies, potential muscle loss, poor mood. You're going to be more likely to binge later. That's not physically or emotionally healthy. Doing some extra activity and keeping your calories the same at a nice healthy caloric intake for someone who is physically active, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. And it makes sense on multiple levels. So I would say for anyone who's at the point where they're considering cutting their calories that low, it's time to reassess what you're doing with your life a little bit. Something is completely out of balance in your life. If you're at the point to where some body fat goal is going to require you, or you think it requires you to cut to an unhealthily low caloric intake that's going to cause nutritional deficiencies, mood problems, binging, everything else. It's time to step back and reassess and say, what in the hell am I actually doing? Isn't there some other change I could make to do this? Something that's going to be more positive in my life? That's what I would advise. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.